For the past 2 years, Jocko Fuel has been the only supplement I've consumed. It's helped me stay in shape now that my competitive career is finished. If you've been waiting to try Jocko, the wait is over. Jocko has now teamed with Walmart, bringing clean fuel to the entire nation. Jocko Fuel is loaded with all the good stuff and none of the bad. And I'm talking no added sugars, no artificial sweeteners, and absolutely no gray area or banned substances. Just pure, clean fuel to power your performances. Jocko Fuel is now available in Walmart nationwide. Products available at your local Walmart are Jocko Malt, ready to drink, Jocko Malt powder, and Jocko pre-workout. How convenient. Guys, the time is now. Consider trying some of my favorites like Jocko Go and Jocko Hydrate. You can even do it online. Use code Chael30 at JockoFuel.com or just stop by your local Walmart and get your hands on some Jocko ASAP. Don't wait, might not last. Fuel up with Jocko Fuel and crush your goals. Now there's no excuse for not having clean fuel. Guys, I want you to go get Jocko Fuel today at Walmart. I guess I'll make a piece on Conor since nobody else is covering him. I've never seen a period in our sport like this where they get scared. They can't talk about Conor. It's this weird thing. And what are you going to do with him? And I understand that topic has come up 100 times, but that topic got weighed in by Joe Rogan, who said Conor is done. And that's not a quote by Joe. But it was close. Will never fight again, career is over. Something along these lines. This wasn't your typical, which was all the rave a couple of weeks ago, Barry Conor session. We'll never work with him again. We'll never watch Conor again. Wasn't that. Joe's context was, is he going to fight again? No, he's not going to be booked to fight again. All right. I'm stopping right there because I read this thing Joe said. I didn't watch it. I don't want to misquote him, but I will jump in on that thought, which it's tough in anything, right? All right. Let's start with this. This goes in many different directions. I'm trying to think of a place to start with Conor. If Conor is not going to fight again, which it is very apparent that he is not going to fight again, but that's not the way this game is played. This game is played with a constant, as long as you have not used the word retired, as long as you have not retired yourself, you seem to be eligible amongst our community for different debates and discussion and hypothetical potential matchups, which is very good for you. The day they stop talking about you, you are done. And we understand Conor's ability to market, but we also understand all the reasons that Conor has had a motivated to have those abilities to market. Right? He's one guy that has found, hey, I got a whole bunch of fans from fighting, specifically from fighting, and for no other reasons. But I've also found that of these fans, a lot of them drink beer, and they'll drink my beer. And it turns out that a lot of them, they also drink whiskey, and they'll drink my whiskey. And it turns out that a lot of them watch movies, and I can get them to watch my movies. And that might sound basic to you. It's a very rare thing. Very, very rare. We've had massive stars. We have massive sports stars that have wanted to go into some world of entertainment. Like every athlete wants to be an actor, and I have the foggiest idea why. Every actor wishes they were an athlete. I do not have the foggiest idea why. But I'll share with you, we've had a number of people that have been a very successful athlete. And when they tried to cross into entertaining, it wasn't a matter of they weren't very good. They could not get their start. Their fans did not follow them. Give you a combat example though, but Conor McGregor goes into movies, it turns into the most watched movie, and then whatever that demographic was. Roy Jones could not force somebody to listen to him sing to the point that he sang himself to the ring one time because it was the only way to get boxing to watch him sing, to even give him a shot. That's much more common. The Roy Jones is much more common, where if people like you in one field, they generally will not follow you to something else. We got a great actor out there called Steve Carell. And Steve Carell is one of the most loved characters in the history of TV, but he is insisting to not do the character that we loved him for. And our revenge on him is that we don't follow him to the something else. He is not going to decide how he's going to entertain us. He is going to feel honored that he did something that did entertain us and that we acknowledged him for it. And I'm sharing with you on Conor McGregor, it's a very interesting spot of why he would keep the light open to potential MMA. Why? And when you start to understand what he does with all that media and how well he's done at it, you would have a harder question of asking, why would he stop that? But when you start dealing with reality, right? Like there's some guys that you just don't want to listen to. Have you ever met the guy that tells you it's a bear market? It's a bear market right now. You should sell everything. You ever met that guy? Because since 1929, 14% of the time is it a bear market. So that person is betting against 86%. He's an idiot. And when you meet stupid people, you need to hear stupid things so you don't continue listening to them. If somebody reveals to you they're a dum-dum, you know in the future to not listen to that person. So when you have people in MMA that tell you Conor's going to fight again, you got to store that away as a dum-dum. It's one of these things. It's just like bear market guy. The numbers are simply not in that direction. There is nothing in life where if your guy doesn't do it, somebody else's will. All right? So Conor has spent a period of time, and I will admit as a Conor fan, as a Mark, I kind of sit back and enjoy him. I am not convinced that he understands that he's done. Now, that might be the great ruse, but that is generally the argument, that Conor understands he is completely done and he is just playing with the rest of us. I'm not certain that's accurate. And the reason I say that is MMA is not for fun. MMA is not exercise, and it is not a hobby. So if you go into practice 3 days a week, let's say, those are going to be 3 really hard days and 3 miserable experiences that if you were just going for the calorie burning and for the exercise mechanics of it, you'd have been far better off and had a better time turning some music on in your garage and gone through different motions than you would have gone and have somebody punch and kick at you. So the fact that he does go in on average, what I'm going to call 3 days a week, makes me think he's not completely clear on the idea that he is done. So that would keep hope alive in some direction. And I think Conor, one of the things that's been interesting is when he goes and calls for fights somewhere else. Now, one of the reasons I appreciate that trick working, the reason I appreciate the retweets, the social media, the headlines on the dirt sheets, is because nowhere in history has he fought somewhere else. There is not an example. It's not, that one time he did it and we could do it again. That one has worked with every boxer he calls out. Well, he did get a go and box that one. That did happen. So Conor versus Manny, that's already happened once. There's nowhere that Conor has fought for another promoter since he started fighting for this promoter. That has never happened. But there are also none of you that have a job. Whatever industry you're in, none of you, 0, have a job where your boss isn't going to use you. Whatever department it's in, whatever you do, your boss is not going to put you to work, but another boss will. That is not accurate. So if you're any promoter of any level and you're promoting anything at all without having inside privy to the numbers, only knowing what you're exposed, having your own analysts, having your own algorithm to try to figure it out, ultimately, when you get done with all of that guessing, you're still going to have to look at his promoter doesn't promote him. The guy that has the legal right to have him do combat doesn't. You're going to be left with that. And you're going to have to then be confronted with why. Why would I, a fellow promoter attempt to do something that's going to be complicated and hard and expensive. Why would I do that when the guy that has that ability, and it's simply a choice, chooses not to? And you don't have to get any further than that. When you're doing your analysis and you're attempting to figure out what's this worth and what would this draw and what is this market and what can the market bear and how many rounds are we going to do it in and what weight class are we going to do it in, what's the date and what's the venue and what's the money, before you spend any time doing any of that, take all the sophisticated out, all the sophistication, put your calculator away, and then just deal with the laws of logic. Before I come in and I attempt to do something, the person who has the ability to do that right now has chosen not to. And until you can logically get around that, we don't need to go any further with the idea of, is Conor going to compete again?